TypeScript has another built-in type called enum, which represents a list of related constants. If you know C# or Java, you have seen enums before. We have the exact same concept here in TypeScript. So let's say we want to represent the size of t-shirts as constants. One way is to define three constants like this: small, medium, and large. That's one way. And then throughout our code, we can reference these constants. Another way is to group these constants inside an enum. So we use the enum keyword, then give our enum a name. Now note that here I'm using Pascal naming convention. So the first letter of every word should be uppercase, okay? Then we add curly braces, and inside the braces we add our members: small, medium, and large. Once again, I'm using the Pascal naming convention for the members. Now when we define an enum, we don't need to define these three constants anymore. And by default, the TypeScript compiler assigns the first member the value of 0, and other members values like 1, 2, and so on. Now, if you don't want to use these values, you can explicitly set values. So we can set small to 1, and then medium becomes 2, and large becomes 3. We can also use string values like s. If we do this, then we have to explicitly set a value for each member. So medium and large, like this. Now I'm going to revert this code and just rely on numbers. So I'm going to initialize small to 1 and rely on the compiler to set the value for other members. So now that we have this new type, we can declare a variable like mySize of type size and set it to size dot medium. Okay? So this is how we can use enums. Now let's see what happens if we log mySize on the console. So back to the terminal, let's run the TypeScript compiler. Good. And then use node to execute our JavaScript code. So we go to the dist folder and pick index.js. So look, we see the numeric value associated with our enum member. Okay. Now let's look at the generated JavaScript code in this file. So back to the project, here's our index file. Take a look. So the generated JavaScript code is pretty verbose, it's pretty lengthy. Now you don't need to worry about understanding this, but let me show you a trick. Back to our TypeScript file. If we define this enum as constant, the compiler will generate a more optimized code. So let's recompile our code and then look at index.js one more time. Now we don't see all that code anymore. We only have one line for setting mySize to 2. Again, you don't have to worry about the generated JavaScript code. All I want you to take away here is that using an enum, we can represent a list of related constants. And if we define our enums using the constant keyword, the compiler will generate more optimized code. Next, we're going to talk about functions.